Hello, everyone. Welcome to TV Literate, the podcast that unapologetically enjoys trashy TV. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Megan.
And we're here.
We are here.
Just barely.
Just barely. We're just barely getting through it all, but we're here.
What a week and a half it has been, generally, globally.
Yeah, there's just a lot going on right now. I mean, when is there not?
Yeah.
But on another note, what have you been watching lately, Jillian?
I'm still just on Survivor, really. We haven't been watching a lot of new stuff because Chris has been playing video games and I've been reading my books and playing some games too. Mm-hmm. So I haven't really done a lot of TV watching. I really don't think we've watched like anything this week because we just have been like sitting in silence trying not to freak out.
Mood. That's a mood for sure. Yeah, I definitely have those weeks where it's like I didn't watch like any TV this week. I've just been surviving and trying to distract myself with my other hobbies.
Yes, exactly. So nothing new to report here. Back to you, Megan. What have you been watching?
I have a couple of new things to report. I am happy to say.
Yes.
The first thing is there is a new season of Blown Away, season 3 of Blown Away on Netflix, which I had no idea about, but I just opened Netflix and it's there and it's all there for you. So enjoy it because we did, of course, as we always do. So we watched that in like a day because it's like one of those shows that's like, it's like 30-minute episodes. There's 10 of them. So you just like watch it in a night. And then we also watched the new docu-series. It's like 3 documentary episodes on Woodstock 99 on Netflix, which was really interesting. And then I found out that there's actually an HBO documentary on Woodstock 99 that came out like a year ago. And I actually, I enjoyed both of them, and I think they're both different enough, but I actually think I like the HBO documentary a little bit better. I thought it was a little bit just of a better documentary, but they're both interesting, and it's just like, wow, a lot of commentary about like I don't know, society in the late 90s and how like women were just sexualized and men were assholes, and there was so much pent up aggression, and it was just like
it was a bad time.
It was not great. It's as fucked up as things are, it is good to know that there have been conversations about things that have progressed, especially things with like sexual assault and stuff like that. At least it's a little bit more talked about and known about because dark stuff.
Yeah, we watched the HBO one when it came out last year, and it was a lot, so I didn't know that there was another new one, but I have been seeing people talk about it again, so I figured there must be something. But
I think it just came out like the past week or so, or maybe a couple weeks ago on Netflix. So yeah, I don't know. It's I always love it when there's like dueling documentaries, like a la Fire Festival, where it's like you can compare and contrast and see see the different types of journalism.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you feel like you're not getting a biased take because you're getting multiple takes.
Right. Yeah, at least a little bit less biased.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right. So this week we're gonna pick off. This week we're
gonna
gonna
pick off the Plaths.
Oh, I mean, I can think of the ones we would start with for sure, but we are going to pick up with where we left off with the Plaths. We're doing the current season right now. And the first episode we're going to talk about is called Double Life.
This is like so dramatic of a title for the episode that like isn't about anyone actually having a double life.
I know. They just love to be, at least, I don't know, at least they're not being like cutesy with the titles like the Bates show, but yeah, not really a super representative title, but you know what, that's all right.
Yeah, I feel like we could have used that like the next episode or the one after.
Right.
For double life.
So Ethan is packing to go work on his cars in Cairo, which we talked about last week. And Olivia has decided to tag along with him.
I understand why she's doing it. And it's just such a bummer because he does not understand why he's doing it.
Yeah.
And so it's never going to go good. It's going to be a bad time at the end of it.
That's definitely true. Yeah. Ethan needs to do some more self-reflecting on this topic and reflecting on their relationship. In relation to this topic too. But Olivia says that she wants to be supportive of Ethan and his hobbies, and also just kind of like has a gut feeling that she should be in Cairo with him. Like, doesn't really want him to go to Cairo completely alone and isolate himself, which I get because that's kind of what he does.
Yeah. Oh yeah, big time. He's yeah, I don't know. He's just a little hermit and who doesn't want to deal with his own feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And then this was the thing that really got me. Is this whole episode was like, okay, so this is kind of like Ethan hiding stuff from his parents, but then his fucking parents are basically doing the same thing 2 episodes later. God. So like,
I know.
It's just that he's committing the sins of the father.
Yes, he's learned from the best.
And he thinks that it's a reaction to what they were doing, not that he's literally copying them.
Right. He's also scrambling because now he has to tell Olivia about this car that he bought while he bought the car while they were separated and hasn't told her about it and he says like, if I would have told her about it when I bought it, we would have gotten divorced. So like, not great.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't have bought it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. You knew that this was like, I'm going to go like, we're on a break, but I'm going to go sleep with someone at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. It's like, I'm going to do something that I know expressly would piss off my wife, especially because of the timing of it. Yeah. But I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to keep it from her.
It's so fucking much. Like,
yeah.
I really had some like awakenings into their psychology in these 3 episodes.
Definitely.
Like, man, some of the stuff you're just like, yep, they literally just can't see it. They can't look inwardly.
Yeah, not at all. So they talk a little bit about how Mariah knew about the car, knows about the situation, but obviously she doesn't want to get involved. Like, it's not
her responsibility.
Yeah.
It is not the fight that she wants to have while she's living in their house.
Yeah, like. Exactly. But they both, I thought it was interesting that both Mariah and Olivia in these scenes like referred to Ethan as being very sneaky. Like, that's a very integral part of his personality, it seems like. And
he calls himself sneaky too.
Yeah. Which, like, I can imagine it would be really hard to be married to somebody like that. As much as I like Ethan, like he I could not handle something like that.
There is a difference between independence and sneakiness.
Definitely. So then we go over and we catch up with our favorite parents, and Kim just comes out and says it. She says that her and Barry have decided to live separately for now, and Kim has been staying in their rental properties as they've been vacant. Mm-hmm. And she says that she feels like Barry isn't really trying, and she says that like it kind of seemed like he might be starting to try, and then he'd realize it was working, and then he'd like stop trying, which sounds like, 100% true. It sounds
It's like at the tail of every shitty straight marriage.
Mm-hmm. So like I guess Kim and Barry had like a conversation, and Kim said that there's no way this is gonna work, and Barry cried.
This is just like one of those things. I did not know that I would like Kim again, because I did not like her. Like, I hated her, but I knew that this was like fucking trauma response bullshit. Mm-hmm. And like, she actually seems to know like what she wants, what she's feeling, and what she's done to the people around her. And it's like, she's kind of redeeming herself in my eyes.
Yeah, at least a little bit. I mean, I don't think I will ever be a fan of either of these people, just because like they literally, like, I don't even need to explain it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, definitely I can at least say that Kim is much more self-aware and just like able to reflect on things and come to conclusions, even if it's like not the conclusion she wants to come to. Mm-hmm. Whereas Barry just seems to completely ignore everything and bury his head in the sand and just pretend like everything's okay, which is not
I mean, everything's okay for Barry, because Barry doesn't give a shit about what everybody else feels or whatever. Barry's happy.
Barry has no feelings himself. He is a robot. So
Barry had what he wanted: a wife and children and a job and someone to take care of all the kids and, you know, whatever. Like he was contented, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But God, so this part is when they play Kim a clip back of her from 2 years ago, where it says, you have to go into a marriage with eyes wide open, but then have your eyes half shut while you're in it. And it's like, yep.
Oof.
Yep. That's when we all knew that this was bad.
Yeah. It was clear from the beginning that like this is not a healthy and normal marriage.
Uh-uh.
So like any outsider can see that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm glad that she's finally realizing it herself. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel
like
bad for the kids.
she's still not a good person.
No.
But I understand her more.
Yeah. I'm glad that she's at least like, you know, working through these things for herself.
Yeah, I mean,
but
does she have a therapist? Maybe, possibly.
I hope so.
I hope so. But like, it kind of sounds like she has a therapist.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. I do wish she wouldn't like neglect her children and pawn off the work on their other children though.
I know. It's like, okay, so there is an actual medium between abandoning your children and smothering your children. It is called parenting them.
Yeah, for sure. Which we'll get into that as it comes up more, because it will come up several times. But
oh yeah.
Going back to Ethan and Olivia, they are on their way to Cairo, and Ethan's already stressed out about the new car situation, and like there's just like a lot of tension in this car ride.
God, yeah, it's 4.5 hours. And he's like, I feel like it's going to be 4.5 hour argument. And it's like, first of all, having that expectation at the beginning, like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Especially because like and Olivia says it in this part where he hides all of his emotions. So when anyone around him has a single emotion, even if it's a reasonable emotion, he's like, oh, you're so over emotional.
Yes,
and that's exactly what fucking happens in the car. Like, they're sitting there and he's like, well, she's like, you know, it just doesn't really feel like you want me to come. And he's like, well, I didn't want you to come. I was hoping to go by myself. And she's just like, cool.
Great.
Like, obviously upset.
Yeah, if my husband told me that, like, it would make me so upset. Like, I'm a sensitive person.
Yeah.
And stuff like that would really bother me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
even if you're thinking
shitty fucking thing to say.
You don't need to say it.
Yeah. Like, that's just cruel.
Yeah. That's like my ex-boyfriend, who his whole motto was, if I don't tell you every single thought that comes into my brain, I'm not being honest with you. And don't you want your boyfriend to be honest with you? And it's like, I mean, not when you just tell me that, like, no man in their right mind would find me attractive at my current weight. Yeah, no, I don't want you to say stuff like that to me. No.
And it's like, that's the kind of person you are, that you want to say that stuff to people. Like, we all have nasty thoughts occasionally.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's a filter about being a good person who, like, cares about other people and has, like, empathy and sympathy, is you don't fucking say that shit. And most of the time you're like, oh yeah, that was a shitty thing to think. Like, I don't know why I thought that. Like,
yeah, but like, it's okay if you just think it and don't say it. Like, there's no harm done in just thinking something.
Yeah, exactly. Just, we all have the little demon that
intrusive
says shitty
thoughts.
Things about people. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, no, I don't want to stick my hand in the fucking Foreman grill. I don't have to do that. I can make the decision to not stick my hand in the Foreman grill.
Yes. I have that decision making process ability inside of me.
And just Ethan fucking doesn't. And then
apparently
she's
not.
Like upset by this, and he's like, I wouldn't have taken you along if you were gonna be this sad.
Yeah, it's like,
well, you just said you didn't want to do this activity with her.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't she be sad?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what do you expect?
Got the emotional awareness of, like, a rotten apple.
He really does. Which, I mean, he is like a man in his early 20s. So what do you expect? But like,
a very
come on,
sheltered, raised by Barry the entitled man.
Oh God, I'm honestly like, I'm surprised he's as normal as he is. But even still, like, come on, Ethan.
Yeah. And again, a lot of it's due to your trauma, dude. But you got to deal with it.
Yeah. You can't make your trauma everyone else. Like, you have to deal with that and not make it other people's problem.
You don't get to hurt people because you're hurt people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So then we get a little clip of Mariah, who is at the apartment with Nathan, Olivia's younger brother, and they're making hot chocolate together. And Mariah's kind of reflecting on everything and says she feels a lot better since her trip to LA and is up to more socializing these days. And she's back to being blonde for a change, which, I mean, I loved the colored hair, but of course the classic Plath blonde is...
Yeah, it's an iconic look for a 21-year-old in Tampa.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what? Yeah, come on, you're in Tampa.
You gotta do it. You gotta get the bad orange tan and the blonde hair and the big falsies.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's hilarious that Mariah and Nathan, like everyone in the house knows about Ethan's car except for Olivia.
I know. It's bad. Like, that's really bad, Ethan.
You don't fucking see how you're the problem here, bud?
Exactly. And I thought it was interesting how Nathan was talking about how he sees Olivia, you know, going to Cairo, this place with a lot of trauma and a lot of negative things, like stepping out of her comfort zone, going back to Cairo to bond with Ethan, how that's like a really big step for her. And Ethan does not see that at all. He just sees it as like an inconvenience. And that's like a real shame.
Yeah, I think one of them said like Olivia's trying to fix things by going, and Ethan doesn't know he has to, I guess.
Yeah. It's ugh.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, definitely not their fucking responsibility to tell Olivia about the car, because what a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's all on Ethan for sure.
Yeah, not good. So we go on to Micah. In LA.
And Micah's friend Capiche is showing them how to cook an Indian meal. And Micah says he's never had Indian food, but he has eaten caterpillars with his siblings.
Yes.
So, you know, he's cultured in some ways.
Equation, but he didn't make that equation, but it was there.
It was, yeah. He did. Those were two separate sentences, but they were both true, and they were both represented in this scene. So
yes, this episode being right after the last episode where Kim brought her Jamaican friend from the gym back to cook them dinner, and like how horrifying that situation was that whole time, and then like comparing it to like how nice and easy Capiche, Micah, and Hayden and all them, like, oh, we're trying each other's cultures, we're having a nice time, like this is how it should be. And then there's Kim over there being like, this is my new emotional affair I'm having. Would you like him to cook dinner for you?
And then challenge him and Barry to a push-up competition. Wow, so wholesome. Yeah, no, it was a great like foil, because this was such like a cool, like the vibes were fun. There was no tension. They were just having fun, and it was like a big emphasis on, you know, like learning about other cultures' foods and trying other things. Whereas like it did not seem like, it seemed like they were trying to say that's what they were doing with the Jamaican dinner, but it's like clear that Kim just wanted to bring this guy over to make Barry jealous. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like how to actually have a friend who is not of your race and ethnicity versus how not to.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. They talk a little bit about like sex stuff, and Micah tells the story about how he was on a date, and the date asked like, when's the last time you had sex? And he answered honestly, last night, which, hey, at least he's being honest.
I mean, yeah, he's like, and then I got a second and a third and a fourth date. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Everyone can be a hoe.
Yeah. Micah Plath deserves to be a hoe.
Yeah, he gets his hoe season. His season of hoe. His season in the hoe.
Just be safe, Micah.
Yeah, don't get pregnant, or, well, don't get anyone else pregnant.
Yeah. Or a disease, or like COVID, monkeypox, lots of stuff going around these days.
Yeah, just mask up all orifices.
Polio? ? And you know they're probably not vaccinated, so they should get on that if they haven't already.
I bet Micah's vaccinated. I think because Micah is an actor.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably has
to be part of his agency or whatever.
Right. I don't know. I liked that scene. I love the scenes with Micah and his friends. I like his LA friends. They just seem like really like cool, like supportive dudes.
I don't know how he found these fucking dudes.
Yeah, but
they all just seem so cool. But like,
yeah,
and like they're really nice, and like I feel like that's not common anywhere, and much less somewhere like fucking LA where everyone's like dog eat dog out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very refreshing.
It is. It's very good. Micah also says that he realized his parents' rules weren't going to work for him around 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
Good for him. Yeah. That seems like a reasonable time for him to make that decision. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Mariah really rebelled, and Micah was just biding his fucking time. He's like waiting for 18, baby.
Yes. He's just, being a little farm boy until, building up those muscles until he can get out and show him off to the world. So
Yeah.
Ethan is finally reunited with his cars, and his friend Philip, who works at the place where he stores his cars. Who I love Philip because Philip's always like being like, "Hey, you should be like thankful for your wife and everything she does for you, because like I would kill for my wife to be interested in this hobby, and she's really trying here."
Yeah, like Philip is the car man that Ethan should strive to be.
Yes, definitely.
Because you can still love cars and work on them and have a hobby, but you can do it in a way where it's not emotionally neglecting your loved ones.
Exactly.
You can just have a hobby instead of I don't even know, like a dissociation.
Yeah.
room.
Yeah. It's like, what do you even call it? Like just a complete distraction from everything.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Olivia jumps right in and helps clean some parts. She's really trying here.
Yeah. And she does seem like genuinely interested in like
and like figuring it out and like trying
happy to be
like
hanging out.
Yeah, which is great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Like I get that. Like I am not interested in a lot of all the things that my husband is interested in, but like I enjoy doing stuff with him. So like even if it's stuff I'm not interested in, I'm going to enjoy it.
And she was being so nice and so kind and so like affable after he just said, "I don't want you to fucking be here," like 2 hours before.
Olivia, you're too good for this world.
I know. God, I've heard that we're gonna not like Olivia as much in the next set of episodes. But it's okay. I still stand Olivia a little bit.
Yeah, so far, we're just talking about what we've seen, okay?
Yeah.
Don't be mad at us if she's like really bad.
No.
Anyway, Ethan, but finally after this scene, Ethan admits that he's having a good time and he's glad that Olivia's there, but he's kind of compartmentalizing everything with the truck and not dealing with it yet because he's Ethan.
Yeah, because that's how you deal with things when you're in a family who literally has done nothing but compartmentalize their entire lives due to trauma.
just kind of your natural way of being.
Yep. Then it's the fuckery. This is the most fuckery, I think, in all of these episodes.
Yep.
Barry, good old fucking gotta have control Barry, tells the kids about the separation. They have not talked about telling the kids. They have not, there's no, like, the kids aren't asking him. He just, like, gathers them around, like, come on, your father's got some things to tell you about your mother.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because I definitely think that even though the parents don't know 100% what's going on, they need to be more, clear with the kids because they're not young kids. They can like they're not like
dumb.
Babies.
They know that their mom's leaving at night to go sleep somewhere
exactly.
else.
So maybe just like talk a little bit about it, but yeah, it's like really manipulative of Barry to essentially go behind Kim's back and lay out all the details without giving her the opportunity to say her side. Like just a lot going on here.
If it should have been a joint discussion.
It should have been, yeah.
He should have texted Kim that morning and been like, "Hey, you got to come in for dinner tonight because we have to tell the kids. They're asking too many questions."
Yeah. Like, I definitely think it would be appropriate for Barry to be like, we have got to talk to the kids. Like, they need to know. But I don't think it's appropriate for him to do it by himself without Kim.
Yeah, without Kim's blessing to do it by himself. Like,
right, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. It was bad. And he, like Ethan, totally unaware of what the problem is.
Yeah, it's like Barry really should not be the one describing the issue because he clearly doesn't actually even know what the issue is.
No.
Or care, it seems like. So, I don't even know. I did like how we kind of caught up with some of the older kids. So Isaac is working 40 hours a week. I don't know exactly what he's doing, but something airport related, which he's into flying. So good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him for getting out of the house. I'm sure that's a relief for him.
Yeah.
And then Lydia also works full time at the bank. And she also has been helping the younger girls' school. And she said, Mom helps sometimes.
Yeah. Kim is doing exactly the same fucking thing as Ethan's doing and just... Yeah, I'm gonna go do dance and not think about the problems in my life. And it's like, okay, well, you can try that, but you do have children that you need, that you technically are in charge of their schooling.
Yes, like, and you don't need to be either. That's the thing, is like there are literal schools. I don't know if you knew that, but there are schools that will like teach your kids for you, and a lot of them you don't even have to like pay tuition for, because they're public schools.
They get buses and shit to pick them up in the morning and drop them off in the afternoon.
Imagine that. So if you're not committed to homeschooling your kids full time, and instead you're pawning it off on your other child who has a 40-hour-a-week job in addition to being a 19, 20-year-old woman, like maybe you should put them in school then if you're not going to teach them yourself.
Yeah, like it's not a failure to say like, hey, there's too much on my plate right now.
Yeah.
I can't take care of this as well.
But it's just like abandoning them, like, and also it's like, shouldn't your kids' education be like a priority?
Yeah, especially because your other fucking kids have said outright to your face, you put me at a disadvantage with schooling with all this knowledge that I don't have.
Yeah, it's like they literally told you that, and you have done nothing but probably made it worse now, because now you're not even pretending.
Now you're not even teaching.
Yeah, it's like, God, it's
a fucking nightmare.
It is.
It's like, in this part though, still, he says something. He's like, okay, so first of all, the parentification of Lydia is so fucking fucked up. I would just like to say that Barry, treated Lydia kind of like his like next wife.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was very uncomfortable. Wow. Very uncomfortable.
And so she like comforts him by hugging him, which, you know, like, it's okay. Then he's like, you know, I'm just torn up because, you know, it's a trauma. And it's just like, get fucked, Barry.
Yeah. Like your children have been traumatized their whole life by you guys.
Yeah, you don't get to tell your kids that, especially something that's like going to traumatize them.
Yes,
it's currently like, traumatizing them.
This isn't something that only affects you, Barry. It directly affects all of these people. And like, you are the adult here. You have to, you're their father. You have to be at least somewhat in control of this situation and like know how to respond. Yeah,
and you sure as shit are probably not offering great emotional support.
No, it doesn't seem like he's, you know, super emotionally present. I think that's actually like the crux of the issue here.
I did hate how he said, well, I've lost my relationship with Kim now, so now I have to build stronger relationships with my children. And I'm like, you have to parent your children? Wow.
I know. It's like, shouldn't you have been trying to build strong relationships with your children regardless of your relationship with your wife? That just seems like something that a parent would want to do. I don't know. I'm not a parent. I don't know shit.
I know. God, I do think it's very funny that Kim and Barry are another statistic, another pandemic divorce that's gonna happen, because you know that this started getting crazy when like he was at home all the time, because he had been working like in Tallahassee and stuff, so she didn't have to deal with him. She was just a mom raising kids.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine the divorce rates going up, and then in the coming years, I'm sure. It's been a rough go of it.
Yeah, it's been tough when you like the person you live with and like want to emotionally support them and feel emotionally supported, much less somebody who's like,
yeah, and just like stressful times bring out the worst in people a lot of the time, so it's just a mess.
Yeah.
Lydia says that this was only the second time she had seen Barry cry, the first being her brother's funeral. So yeah, I mean, I understand not everyone is a crier. But I don't know. I definitely saw my dad cry, like, several occasions.
Like, my dad is not a big crier. Like, he's definitely a very emotionally buttoned up introvert. But I've seen my dad cry.
Do you have anything else to say about the Barry talk?
No, just fuck Barry. I think Barry's the cause of all these problems. Like, Kim was fucked up, but I think Kim was fucked up from her childhood, and he monopolized on that. And then she just got more.
It definitely seems like that. And yeah, it's bad. And it's just like, he still is so unaware of how he comes. It's just like, how are you like this?
No eyeballs, all just wearing the horse blinders, can only look in the mirror attached to your forehead. You are just staring at yourself. Barry only thinks about Barry.
With that creepy little smirk on his face.
That fucking smirk. He did some pretty ill-timed smirks in these episodes.
As always, God. Oh my God. So then Ethan and Olivia, they're having a jam out time in Cairo, but it's finally, he can't put it off any longer. Ethan has got to tell her about this new car. Yeah. So he takes a call from Mariah, who's just like telling him, you need to fucking just tell her.
Yeah, she's like, just fucking do it.
And then there's like an awkward conversation between Olivia and Ethan, where Olivia's like talking about how she's just like looking forward to having all his cars away from Cairo, and he was like, but you know that even when my cars are away from Cairo, like
I'm still gonna want to come back here. And it's like, yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, kind of. It's just like, you don't need to bring this up right now. Like, we get it. Like, you're tied to Cairo, your family's there, but like, read the room.
Yeah, read the room, buddy.
So then this just like blends into the next episode, which is called I Was Born in the Dining Room.
Which is an iconic
title.
Thank you. I was like, good. Intro?
So we're back at the garage. Ethan is leading Olivia towards something to show her, which...
He's such a fucking idiot.
I know. It's just like, why did you do it this way?
I know, because she thought, first of all, it was going to be something that he thought was fun for a little bit. She's like, oh, are you going to prank me? Like, is it a dead mouse? Like, thinking that he's going to like, continue the nice time they're having by giving her a razz. And no, he's like, it's like he sent a I want to talk text and then turned off his phone for 4 hours.
My ex-boyfriend literally would just say, like, we need to have a serious talk later. And then I would bring it up and he would be like, oh, I was just kidding because I knew it would make you feel anxious all day.
We're riding at dawn.
It's like, what the fuck? Anyway.
We're killing a man tonight.
Yeah, but it's like he should have just been like, hey, I need to have a serious talk. Sit down and just have the talk and just like.
Yeah. Or be like, hey, since we're here, I have to tell you that I bought another car when we were separated.
Yes.
It's outside, out back here. Philip's been taking care of it for me or whatever. It runs, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. I knew that this would upset you, but it's something that I've always wanted. And instead, he's like, let's walk out for 20 fucking minutes out to this fucking car where she's like, what's happening? What are you doing? Why aren't you talking to me? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then he just stands next to the car and he goes, I bought another old car. It runs, though. It's like,
it has an engine and a transmission. It's like, cool. So do pretty much all cars.
Yeah, and like he doesn't really like you just outlined. If he would have just like come out and said it and like acknowledged that what he did was wrong and hiding it from her was wrong from the beginning, I think it would have gone a lot better. But it was just like, let me drop this bombshell on you and then like probably get annoyed with you when you get overly dramatic about it.
Yeah, with like no emotional awareness of why she's upset at all. He just says she's going to be upset about this, so I didn't want to do it. It's like, well, why is she going to be upset, bud?
Right.
Why is she going to be upset? Let's ask this one question. And then when she like says to him, like, I think later, she says something like, you need to understand, like, it's really convenient that you're confused or you don't understand where I'm coming from. And it's like, yeah, dude, like, think about the equation here. Why is she upset?
It's really not that hard. It's really not that hard to understand.
No, and he's like, well, she just wants me to pay more attention to her. And she's like, no, that's not the problem.
Yeah, no. So Olivia doesn't really say anything at first. She kind of just like takes it in and asks if she could just go back to washing her parts. And then we kind of get a little clip from her saying that it was just like particularly painful that like the timing of when he bought it, because he bought it while they were separated, so he could take time to figure out like how he could be more present in the relationship, what he can do to improve it, and instead he did something he knew would not be okay and then hid it from her. And it's like, we thought we were making all this progress and then this, is not cool.
Yeah, he said at the very end of the previous episode something, I think it was to Mariah or in a talking head. It was kind of like half a joke, but not really a joke. He said, it's always best to lie, then if you get caught, you get to deal with it. And it's like, honey, no, just tell the truth and you won't have to deal with anything.
Yeah. 99% of the time, like, the lying about it is going to be the worst part.
Yeah. Everyone will get over, like, oh, you overspent on a hobby, you did this and that. But it's like, why would you fucking lie about it?
It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Like, and you know that it's bad then because you're feeling shame and that's why you're lying. And like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like Ethan understanding a human emotion is like the meme with the lady and all the like numbers and like math is floating in front of her face.
Yes.
Because it's that.
It's too hard. It's too much for him.
And he doesn't realize, I don't think, that Olivia knows that like this is why he didn't want her to come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which like, come on now.
We all fucking know.
Olivia's not dumb.
No.
So we'll take a break from Aletha? Ethan and Olivia. That was a Aletha. I like that. Anyway, we're going to LA and Hayden, who is Micah's friend, roommate type thing. His girlfriend is coming over and bringing another friend like as a date for Micah. And they're two, like, I guess Hayden's girlfriend Amanda is from Brazil and the woman she's bringing, Antia, is from Spain. So they're kind of all getting to know each other, getting familiar with each other's like backgrounds and childhood.
They're all actors. They know each other from acting school.
Yeah, they seem cool and fun.
Yeah.
And then Micah gets into his whole background with them.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure, like, he talks about how it's just like a really great conversation starter to be like, I have 8 siblings.
And we're all crazy, weird, fucking not Gone with the Wind. Singing in the
Sound of Music.
Thank you. Singing in the rain? How did I get that? Jesus Christ. Sound of Music, children.
Yeah, when you were started doing it, I was thinking, okay, she's talking about a musical with blonde people. Like, it's got to be.
I'm glad you get me. Music. What? Not Singing in the Rain? That's not Julie Andrews.
No. But I loved when he mentioned that he had 8 siblings, and Hayden's girlfriend said, "Is your mom okay?" And the answer is no. No, Amanda, she's not okay.
Everyone, like, Micah thinks she's okay because he doesn't know what it is like to be a woman.
Like, physically she's okay. Like, she's like alive. Well, like, she's alive and walking, like, to the blind eye. Like, she looks like she's okay. So that must mean she is okay.
Yes, exactly. No. But
invisible illnesses don't exist.
No, she definitely probably doesn't have like major bladder issues or bowel issues or coochie issues from birthing 8 children.
Micah talks about how he was born in the dining room, which is where the title comes from. And he says 3 of his siblings were born in the car on the way to the midwife and the rest of them at home.
Yeah.
No thanks. And Micah says that he grew up thinking like this was completely normal. All of this was just like normal.
I have questions. Why the dining room?
I don't know.
Like, Fundies usually do like bedroom, like bed or like couch.
Yeah, the birthing couch, the famous birthing couch.
Was she like on the table?
Ooh, I hope not. I hate that, but I'm now picturing it. I don't know. Yeah, I think that the dining room would be like one of the least likely used rooms. Like,
and like even if you're like, oh, I'm not gonna make it to the midwife, I'm gonna have this baby here. Like, unless you're just like literally dropping a baby out immediately, you're gonna go find somewhere to be comfortable,
right? Which is usually like a bed or a couch or something. Yeah.
I don't know.
Dining room table.
Dining room, man. It's just I have so many thoughts.
Yeah, I get that. It's confusing for sure.
Because like we've seen their house where all those babies were born. Like it's not all the same room. Those are different rooms.
House. Yeah.
The birthing house. We could go stay in the birthing house. It is on Airbnb.
Maybe. Yeah. Oh.
We could eat at the table that Micah was born.
Micah was born on. I wonder if she had like each of her kids in a different room in the house to be like, oh, this is your room. Micah's room is the dining room, and then like I don't even know. The study is where Mariah was born.
Ethan in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
Professor Plum in the library.
Just you know. Micah also talks about how he seems to be adjusting a lot easier to like the real world than his siblings are. And I definitely think that's true, and not in like a negative way towards his siblings, but in like I can't believe that Micah is adjusting this well to the real world and this like normal and nice coming from the background he came from.
Like, and he went to like city 401 from the middle of fucking nowhere. Like, he didn't move to Tampa or Tallahassee or Atlanta. He was like,
fucking LA.
I'm going to go to LA and I'm going to try to become a model. And it's like, I know that's like a lot of people who go to LA, but like people like fizzle out and fucking die.
Yeah. Those people aren't usually, you know, extremely sheltered, you know, kids that lived on a farm and didn't really leave at all. And, you know,
that is a Hollywood trope.
Exactly. Don't know what SNL is. Like, that's usually not the case.
Has never watched TV, moves to LA.
Yeah, doesn't quite add up to me.
Yeah, like, he's doing good. I mean, he still hasn't found a place to live other than on his buddy's couch, but
he's like a 20-year-old, 21-year-old kid. I don't know how old he is.
He's turning 21.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he is. That's like a plot point. So yeah, that sounds like a normal thing for like to be crashing out on your bro's couch.
Yeah, and like, he's making money both in modeling and acting and from this show.
Right.
So
yeah. Good for him. I'm proud of him for like, I think that's really awesome. Like, I could never do something like that, and I don't have like I didn't have half of the limitations that he has. So yeah, good for Micah.
Exactly. I don't know, man. He's doing good. It may just be that he just is like Icarus flying towards the sun, and he just does not know what the problem is going to be. Like, he's just flying by, but I hope everything turns out well for him.
Same. So then, oh God, we get another really fucking awkward scene with Lydia and Barry, and both of these people, like, individually make me uncomfortable. And so when they're together, it's like almost too much for me to handle.
Oof. Yeah, it's really bad. I don't like Lydia and Barry.
Yeah, it is definitely like really awkward just because Lydia has essentially taken over Kim's duties completely, and so it's like
she's like the
almost
Jana.
Like Barry's like expecting her to like be his companion now, which is not appropriate in any way.
No, like, she's like an 18-year-old kid. She's on her very first job. She's never dated anyone. You have kept her under a strict lock and key, and you're like out here fucking Sweeney Todding her and being like, oh.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
Even on the like not weird level, like, Lydia is not your therapist. She is not anything to you that you should be like working through your emotional shit with your wife and her mother.
Yeah, like, she's like, your kids are the last like, you should be honest and upfront with them about what's going on, but like, they don't need to know all of the trauma and stuff that you're feeling, because they are also feeling lots of emotions right now.
She's only lived 18 years. Like, this is like the biggest event to ever happen in her entire life, and she's expected to support her father's emotional state.
Right. Definitely.
Which, like, you know, you're in a family, you always want to support somebody, but like, it just feels like so fucking pernicious.
Definitely. Especially just coming from Barry in general.
Yeah, because of who he is. Yeah. And like, who she is she'll never say no or be like, I feel uncomfortable, or this is like distressing me, or you know, whatever. She'll just continue to do it until she loses her mind and kills someone.
Right. Oh God. But yeah, Barry kind of opens up. They talk about how like surprising the situation is, and Barry says sometimes he wonders if she's going through a midlife crisis, which just goes to show that he does not care, has no idea, is not taking this seriously. It's like the same type of thing when somebody says like, oh, but you're on your period. It's, first of all, fuck you. Second of all, even if I am on my period, even if I am having a midlife crisis, my feelings are still valid.
Yeah, maybe you're the reason for the crisis, buddy.
Exactly.
Also, like, this is the thing I was thinking of. Kim has this whole thing, like, this whole family is so about compartmentalization and just not thinking about it and doing something to keep busy. And Kim has done with children what Ethan did with cars. And so once Ethan, Mariah, and Micah left the house, and then Barry went on that 1-week vacation with the girls, like the little ones. Yeah. So she was home alone the first time since she got married.
Yes.
And she's just like, the second that she's like allowed to like sit down and think about it, she's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, like her kids were her hobby, which is fucked up. And yeah, I don't even know. But that's a good point. And it's just like, it's a family trait, it seems like. Yeah. It's how they were raised.
Can't fucking deal with it. Just ignore it and keep busy.
Mm-hmm. There's also a part where Barry kind of is patting himself on the back because he helped her get this dance studio. He just doesn't understand how this can still be happening even though he's helped her get this dance studio. And he still has power over it, and he still like can refuse to sign for it or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I loved that he goes through that and he's like, but I wouldn't do that to her. And then I love that Lydia was the one that had to point out that it wasn't like Christian of him to be doing stuff like that. And he's like, oh yeah, I am Christian. That is my thing, isn't it?
I know.
Oh yeah.
These episodes, this whole season has really solidified like how not an actual Christian Kim or Barry is.
Yes.
Barry's just been using it as like a fucking control tool, and Kim has just been using it as like a crutch.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's completely apparent to me that it's all about control for Barry. 100%.
Oh yeah. So in this part, he is talking about, he's like, yeah, you just really need to get to know the person you're marrying. I should have asked Kim some questions. And it's like, you didn't, because the reason that you liked her is because she was vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, again, maybe you should unpack that and figure something out about yourself there.
I don't think he ever will.
No, probably not.
Maybe seeing himself on TV will, but that's the only hope I have for him. It's just...
Yeah, I don't know. Think we'll see. It hasn't seemed to make any difference so far, so we'll see.
Yeah, though I think literally it's made a difference in everybody else.
Yes, definitely. I do think that that's a big reason why Kim is like realizing that things aren't as they should be.
Yeah, she's like, oh shit, so I did really like abuse my children for like a solid 20 years.
Great, cool.
Like, I don't know how to fucking deal with that. I don't know how I would deal with that. So the fact that she's even acknowledging that how she treated her children was not the way that she should have treated her children is big.
Yeah, I was impressed with that she actually has like come out and said stuff like that, because I don't think I would have expected Kim to actually admit that she might have been wrong like before the season.
Yeah, which is why I'm like slightly warming up to Kim, because
I get it.
Barry isn't ever going to say that.
No, he's not. He's not even trying. I mean, he's
just now deciding that he wants to have a relationship with his children. Like,
wow, amazing. After half of them are already gone.
Yeah. God, I don't know. But yeah, so he goes through the whole like timeline that he and Kim met and married within 3 to 4 months, which again,
fucked up.
Fuck you, Barry. And then in 5 years they had 4 children.
That's really messed up.
That's so fucked up.
Like, my husband and I, we've been together 6 years total, and I'm thinking about how that would mean that we'd been married for 5 years and had 5 kids or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't like that.
No, it's not a great feeling. You would have no time to yourself, especially if you started at like 19 or 20.
Yeah, no time to get to know each other either, and like be a couple and be married, and and they didn't even weren't even a couple dating. They were only a couple of months.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, like he didn't want to know her. He just wanted a wife.
Yeah, and he just wanted like a brood to control.
Yeah, and Kim just wanted stability and support coming from a single mother who was an alcoholic.
Yeah. Ugh. Hate all of this.
Hate it all. Anyways, we end this whole fucking thing with Barry thinking about telling Ethan, because everyone knows except Ethan.
Yeah, which Ethan, come on now.
Look at yourself in the mirror. You are your father.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
And he's like, so I think I might send a text, and the silver lining is that maybe Ethan will talk to me again. Sir, your priorities are so fucked up.
They are, for sure. Oh, God. So then we go back to the Ethan-Olivia car situation. And so Olivia has decided, after everything's been revealed, that she needs a few days to herself. So I think she goes to Miami while Ethan stays in Cairo to finish things up. And Ethan kind of talks to Philip about, this is where they kind of talk, and, like I said, Philip's a good influence on Ethan, so he should be around Philip all the time, as far as I'm concerned.
I know. Philip's like, maybe you shouldn't give her too much space.
Yeah, maybe you should, try to make it better.
Yeah, you fucked up. You should be groveling at this point.
Yeah. Because, Ethan says that he thinks she's kind of overreacting, but it's like you haven't even like talked to her about what her like. How do you know she's overreacting if you're not talking to her about it? You know what I mean?
And then he says, when stuff like this happens, it's just really nice to work on my cars. And I'm like, you're literally the stupidest person. You can't see what's right in front of you. Like, oh, a conflict? And this person's upset and I'm just going to ignore it?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
God.
I wonder what she was upset about.
And I know, right? So then we get a clip of Mariah picking up Olivia from the airport. And Olivia talks about how she literally wants to kill Ethan, which I get it.
It was pretty cute. She's like, Mariah, do you know what Ethan's favorite flower is? You better get it for his fucking funeral.
Yeah, and she talks about, again, how it wasn't about the car, it's about the timing, and it's about the fact that he kept it forward for 8 months. 8 months is a long time.
Yeah, it's not like he wanted to wait until like they had gotten settled and moved in and weren't stressed.
Yeah. It's like, come, what are you waiting for, dude? Like, where's the end game here?
He's just waiting for the car to be finished. The never to be completed goal of finishing a car. Like the joke is project cars are like, you know, you work on them for like 50 fucking years.
Yeah. That's like the point of them is to like tinker with them, not to like, get them fixed.
Yeah, and like they're rare and old, so like it's hard to find parts. Like it's meant to be like a long-term like Easter egg hunt of a hobby.
Right. So then Mariah and Olivia go to a kava bar, which I did not know what that was, but it's like a tea bar, I guess. I don't know. I don't drink like anything.
Kava is like indigenous Central American and South American tea, and it's good, but it's been white peopled pretty bad.
Sounds right. That sounds 100% right.
And I think it's the one, it might be a different one because there are like 3 different teas. But one of them is like kind of stressful on your liver. So I don't know. One of them.
Good to know. I don't drink tea, so I don't really know anything. Mariah says she's finally kind of come to terms with everything that happened with Max, and she's feeling a lot better. She's decided to completely cut Max off because that's what's healthy for her, which queen moves. But of course, Max is going to ruin this again later.
I know. It's so fucking bad because like Mariah was doing so well. Like she, in this part, the next thing that she goes on about is she says, you know, I didn't really realize what was happening to me, but I was having like flashbacks to Joshua's death, and she reveals that she saw the whole running over of the child happen.
Phew, God, like I pray that she's getting therapy.
Yeah, because she surely did not fucking get therapy then.
No,
she was just told
I know
it was God's will and never to speak about it again because it'll upset your mother.
Up. But I really loved how Mariah was talking about this because I feel like that's not something that we talk about a lot. So earlier this year went through probably the most traumatic experience of my life, and I'm still, you know, working through all the trauma, and that trauma like awakened all of the other traumatic things that have happened in my life, and it's like you're feeling it's like you're feeling the same way that you felt during other times, and it's like you can't help but think about it, and so it just like makes the healing process so much harder because you're bringing up all this other trauma, and in her case trauma that clearly was not dealt with at all. So, it's a lot. But I was really glad to like have a conversation about that, and that Mariah is able to recognize that. I think is really impressive.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like she must be getting therapy because, like,
yeah, definitely.
I feel like if I went through a breakup and then immediately started having flashbacks to my dead baby brother, I'd be like, I need to talk to someone. I
need help. Yeah, somebody.
I'm not going to be able to do this one on my own, buds.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just really proud of Mariah. She's obviously come a long way and really worked through a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And then at the end of this, she's talking about Ethan to Olivia, and she's like, you guys are both fishing for things that you need and you're not getting them. And it's just like, man, sometimes Mariah's
very wise in her way.
Yeah, like, very like old for her age, but it's just like because you know she had a fucking traumatic childhood.
Yeah, she kind of had to grow up early.
Yeah, she just is a good doobie somehow. She like fucking has her pulse. How does she have all the emotional intelligence that Ethan doesn't?
I know, really. I mean, she's a woman and he's a man. That's probably
But they were like their only friends for a while.
I know.
Like it should have rubbed off.
Yeah, I know. Olivia kind of opens up a little bit, and she talks about how she's, you know, always very, you know, careful with what she says about Ethan around Mariah because it's her brother, and like Mariah and Olivia might be like close friends apart from that, but like it's still her brother. So there's going to be emotions there.
Yeah.
But I think that Mariah is able to like realize the faults in her brother and be no, you deserve better than that.
Yeah, and she knows that Olivia's not just like picking at bullshit. She's
right. Yeah, she sees
like,
it with her own eyes. She knows how her brother is.
Yes. Yeah. It's not like she's like, oh, he doesn't do this and do this and do that. It's like, man, I'm really upset because he did this and didn't tell me, and then he said this to me. And she's like, yeah, that fucking sounds like him.
That's reasonable. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, Olivia says that she feels like she's been begging to be loved and respected for so long. And that's so sad because you should not have to beg to be loved and respected from your partner. That should just be natural.
And it's just like so much of this problem on both sides is their fucking upbringings.
Yeah. It's just like, it's like, what are you supposed to do? Yeah.
Ethan was never taught to like be supportive and emotionally caring to his wife. Barry sure as fuck doesn't set a good example.
Not at all. Yeah, Ethan looks like a fucking prince compared to Barry and how he like tries to.
Yeah, he doesn't want to control
things.
Olivia, and he feels bad when he makes her feel bad, which doesn't do the fucking smirk.
Yeah, exactly. God, the smirk.
I can't even do it. It's just like thin-lipped vitriol.
Yeah, I don't have the anatomy to do it. I don't even know. He has like an extra muscle in his mouth.
Yeah, he's got that mustache muscle. You know, some people have the mustache lip.
Yeah, that's true. So then we get into another one of my favorite parts of these episodes. We get a clip from Amber, Mercy, and Cassia, who are the three youngest girls, the three girls still living at home. And they are hanging out at one of the rental properties and staying with Kim, who they haven't really talked to the situation with Kim at all.
Kim's doing damage control since Barry breached the subject without her input.
Yeah. She kind of reflects a little bit about how they're a lot less strict on clothing and food and media now. And she talks about how she feels like she mostly made her kids, like sheltered her kids that way, in a way to like correct her own childhood because her mom was like a single mother alcoholic and she was exposed to a lot of stuff that she didn't want her kids to be exposed to, which obviously I understand, but there's a happy medium.
Yeah, again, just because you were a hurt people, you don't get to hurt people.
Yeah. And then she says that the older kids kind of going off on their own ways and discovering themselves has kind of inspired her to like lighten up a little bit, which, I mean, good.
Yeah, I think Micah touched on this a little earlier too, where he was just like, I think she saw us living our lives and just remembered that she had a life once too.
Yeah. It's almost like she's like, oh, I can do that. Like they did it, so I can do it. Yeah. It's like a backwards in a way, but I mean.
Yeah, like they went out and they didn't die.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, shit.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
So then we get a little clip from Amber, who is I think she's the oldest of the three. Yes. And so I think she's like 13, 14,
she's
somewhere
13.
around there.
She's in the like very attuned to people and their emotions, but absolutely no frontal cortex because you're 13.
I love it. I love it so much. Honestly,
she's a middle school girl right now.
She is. Brutal. And honestly, I have mad respect for her for like really speaking up, because like I don't think anything that she asked was like cruel. Unreasonable.
No.
Or cruel or like intentionally cruel.
Yeah, she's just like, I'm fucking done with this shit. I want answers.
Exactly, which you deserve answers. Yeah. It's affecting your life.
Yeah.
But she reminisces a little bit about how when she was a kid, like her mom would say like, oh yeah, you don't ever have to worry about us getting divorced because divorce isn't even an option. Yeah. And it's like, God, this must be so confusing for their kids.
I know. Because, like, they don't understand.
Especially the younger ones. Yeah.
The intricacies of, like, Kim being basically told, probably by Barry, this is our religion. We can't get divorced. We're in this for life. Our souls are bonded forever.
Yeah. And it's like they've literally been raised very strict their whole life, and now all of a sudden, like, everything that they've learned is a lie. Like, that's just got to be so confusing.
So fucked up. Yeah. Like, especially seeing your mom, like, flip the switch. Like, oh, this stuff doesn't matter. All this stuff that I was mad about and that I've traumatized you about doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like, oh, great. So I've spent literally my whole life being nervous about, showing my left elbow, and now I can? Cool. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, you aren't a whore now. It's just normal.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what the fuck? And then Amber says that she doesn't really understand why Kim is asking Barry to move out because she's the one that wants to leave. So shouldn't she be the one to move out? Which I think is like a reasonable request, like a reasonable question to like get
it's a
understanding.
logical conclusion if you don't like understand the like household chore split and parenting split.
Exactly. And it wasn't like she was being like, I'd rather he live here and you leave. She wasn't saying that. She was, which like, I don't even know. I think it's, I think it's a reasonable question. I can understand how Kim would like feel a little hurt by that question, but I think it's reasonable.
Yeah, like it's a gutsy ass question to ask.
Yeah,
as a kid.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, Kim kind of touches on it. Like, you know, the one who takes care of the kids should be the one to stay.
Yeah.
And Kim says, like, we're both at fault. Like, it may be me who is making the, like, decision. Like, I need a different life. But it's because of Barry and how he's treating me and how he won't meet me halfway.
Yeah. And then Amber kind of sticks up for her dad a little bit and how he bought the dance studio for her, even though, like, it could have potentially helped Kim leave the relationship. And so, like, he's not doing things for himself, but I mean, he is doing things for himself.
Yeah, he is, because in the earlier part where he was talking to them, he's like, I bought her the dance studio because I thought that, you know, it would bring us back together.
Yeah, like that's why, because he thought that would get her to shut up and he wouldn't have to do anything except buy a dance studio. Yeah. Which, like, wow, great.
Yeah, I'm sure real estate isn't expensive in Cairo.
Yeah, come on now. Yeah, I don't know. But it was good. Amber says at the end that, you know, she was feeling sort of mad at her mom about this after the conversation with her dad, but she feels, you know, she understands a little bit more about what's going on, and so she's not feeling as mad, which, imagine that, communication.
Yeah, who'd have thought that maybe Barry was doing this to bias them initially?
I know, right? No, not manipulative at all, Barry.
No, definitely not a problem. Like, I don't know if Lydia will ever understand, but I think Amber's gonna be like 21 and have like some kind of fucking therapy awakening of like, I understand my mom now.
Yeah. I think the fact that she's already like brave enough to ask these questions is a really good sign that she's gonna be that kind of person.
She's not willing to be cowed.
Love it. Love it.
She's stan Amber. Mariah 2.0.
Good for her. Good for her. We love it.
Yes.
So then we go into the last episode for today, which is called Dirty Little Sinners. And Ethan is on his way back to Tampa from Cairo. And he arrives home expecting to find an emotional Olivia.
She's going to be a little bit emotional, he says in the fucking car or whatever, the talking head or whatever. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah. And so it's very tense when they walk in. It's just like quiet. Nobody really says anything. It was finally like Olivia was like, you know, you could bring it up. Like, I don't have to bring it up.
He says hello and she says hey. And he's like, well, if we're not going to talk, maybe I should go work on something else.
Yeah.
You dummy. And she says, or maybe you should be the one to talk because it always falls on me to talk about the problem and solve them and try to fix it.
Yeah. And also you're the one who fucked up. So like you should be the one reaching out and being like, hey, let's resolve this.
Yeah.
But they talk about it a little bit. Ethan says he just couldn't help it when he saw the car. He just needed it. And it's like,
you could have fucking helped it. And also, like, there's a way where you could have been like, I know we're separated, but this car has been my dream of my hobby my whole life. And, you know, this is the only time I've ever seen one on sale, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
But no, you fucking hit it.
Right. I feel like if you would have just been up front with it at the beginning, like she might have been a little annoyed with it, sure, but like I don't think it would have reached this level.
He just doesn't understand the problem. He just thinks that she doesn't want him to have the cars because it takes attention from her. And she's like, I don't care if you have the fucking cars, but you have to like have the fight with me too.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and then Olivia just says that the fact that he kept this a secret so long has made her lose some trust, which is very valid. And she's kind of just she kind of ends the conversation saying that she is going to give herself the same freedom that Ethan gives himself, and she's just going to try to pay more attention to herself and do things that make her happy, which good for her. I mean, obviously Ethan needs to work on things, but like I'm glad that she's just like, okay, I've done everything that I can do, and I'm not the problem here. Yeah, so I'm just gonna
straighten up, or we're gonna figure this out. In the
meantime, I'm going to try to make myself as happy as I can.
And then, of course, Ethan ends it with, why are things like this? Why aren't we more compatible? And it's like, because you have the emotional range of like a gnat.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also like, I mean, that's unfortunately a lot of times the situation when you get married very young without having dated for a long time.
Especially if you become drastically different people, like
right.
leave a religion or leave a abusive family.
Exactly. And that's not to say that you can't work on those things and like have a good relationship regardless, but I mean, things change. So, you know? So then we go over to Lydia, who is doing Amber's makeup, and they're talking about the situation with their parents. And Lydia was like so impressed with Amber and her asking her questions, and she just said, "Should I give you a list of questions to ask for me?" Which I think was really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I was like, I am always impressed with people who can be like confrontational like that in appropriate times, because I just do everything I possibly can to avoid confrontation like most of the time. So yeah.
Yeah, when it's something like that, if it's like Ethan and Olivia stuff, I'll have the fight. But when it's like, do I want to have an opinion about my parents' divorce?
Yeah, it's like that's a little bit more like, ugh.
That's hardcore.
Obviously, yeah, it's valid, and I'm glad that she expressed it. But
yeah, and Amber was just like, I just had to ask. Like, I wanted to know, so I just had to ask.
Good for you. Yeah, Lydia says that she's happy that Amber is speaking her mind and talking through things, because that is not in Lydia's wheelhouse to do that.
She just puts it all in God's hands.
Yeah, and talks to Max.
Her BFF.
Speaking of Max, let's talk about this piece of trash now.
Yeah.
So just after Mariah has finally kind of worked through things and decided she can let go of Max and move on, Max decides to release a video, I guess on Instagram, on social media, whatever, to tell his side of the story.
Yeah.
And Mariah's like more pissed off than she's ever been, because she'd been like expressly keeping this off of social media because she didn't want to deal with people, and she knew that like
name through the mud.
Yeah, like she has a following. She's like a public figure, and he obviously did not treat her well. So like, it's not going to be well for Max. It's not going to go well for him.
Yeah, like she was being the bigger man here.
Exactly. And
he just like, I'm just not going to have any details, even though my life is on a TV show. And like, you knew this signing up for dating me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but basically he was like, we were in a funk. I just didn't feel like anything was going well. Da 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 da. We just didn't really like each other or love each other anymore. And she's like, you gave me a promise ring. We were moving in together into a different city. What?
Yeah, you were just completely making this up. We were not in a funk at all.
And
if we were, it was a one-sided thing. And
yeah,
you were
she's
not
like, if you felt like we were in a funk, you didn't tell me.
Yeah, exactly.
And he refers to the thing as the incident that he had. He had a small incident.
Yes, a small incident where he fucked another woman.
Oops, I fell with my dick out.
I fell dick first into this woman. I'm sorry. But then also Max blamed Mariah's family about, like, not just like her parents, but like she was blaming Ethan and Olivia and feeling uncomfortable around them and not wanting to move in with them. And it's like, if that's true, like, fine.
Have the conversation.
Maybe talk to Mariah about that beforehand.
That's don't go get crunk and screw. That's maybe say, hey, I don't want to do this when you're like looking at apartments with them.
Exactly. And then to just like come online and blame everyone else for your own bad decision is just like never a good look.
Especially because like we have him on camera lying, man.
Yeah.
Like we have Micah explicitly asking him, nothing happened more than a kiss, right? And he said, no, man, no. And then hours later, he feels guilty and tells Mariah about it. And now
he's trying to back it all up.
Yeah, he's like, no, it was an incident.
Oh, God. I loved how Ethan has officially declared Max his mortal enemy, which I get.
It's like, I honest to God hate him for this.
Yeah, which like, I get. Yeah. Like, fuck this guy for sure.
Fuck this guy.
And Mariah kind of talks about how Max has continued to have a relationship with some of Mariah's family, like the siblings.
Yeah, it's like, and you're blaming them for what?
I know.
Exactly.
And Mariah says that, like, I think she thinks that a lot of the reason why is because she hasn't been honest about what happened and she hasn't given her side of the story. And so she, like, really needs to open up to her family about it and let them know that, like, it's not cool to be around my ex anymore. Like, that's not cool.
And then we get Max.
We do.
We get our first Max talking head. I know. He comes on and is like, well, okay, fine.
He says, I essentially cheated. No, you cheated.
Yeah, you just gotta say I cheated. He's like, I didn't tell her the details, but I thought she would have known the details.
He said he thought it would be awkward and too much to give the details. And it's like, you don't need to give the hairy details, but you should be like, you shouldn't blatantly lie and said that somebody tried to kiss you when you really had sex with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you didn't have to go into details, but you gotta go into, like, a little detail. There is such a thing as lying by omission.
Yes, definitely.
And of course, then he's like, yeah, then we were just having a conversation, and I didn't think it would hurt her because I thought she would have known already. And it's like, first of all, you know this girl's never had a boyfriend before, right?
Yeah, and she's, like, incredibly sheltered. And
she was a virgin. Like, she doesn't know anything.
And also, I think Mariah seems to be a very, like, trusting, pretty optimistic person. So
which is baffling, again.
Yeah. And it's like, so obviously, like, you and he knew that too.
Yeah.
And so that's the worst part. It's like, you're just lying through your teeth right now,
and
dude.
he already broke up with her once. Like, in season 1, he broke up with her and he got back together with her. And it's like, okay, if you didn't want to be cruel and tell her the details, you would have just broken up with her.
Yeah, definitely.
You would have said, sorry, I'm not in with this anymore. I don't want to move in with you. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. What the fuck?
You don't have to tell people if you fuck up. You can just break up with them.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes you feel better when you fuck up to tell someone.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck you, Max.
Fuck you, Max.
He also, like, avoids the question about if he's still in love with Mariah. And instead he just talks about how he's happy that he had the journey he had with Mariah.
I'm so grateful to have gone through this journey with Mariah.
Fuck you, Max.
Yeah, he's just playing the whole fucking field just in case Mariah wants to get back together with him later. After he essentially cheated.
Mariah can do way better than you, dude. Bye.
I essentially cheated is the new, like, essential oil.
Yeah. I essentially cheated.
Essentially. Even though he didn't even say cheated in the video, like, he knew that video was fucked up, too. Yeah. That's why he agreed to do the interview.
Yeah, definitely. He was trying to make himself look better, but he just looks like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Can't come off looking good in this situation, dude. You fully fucked up.
I mean, he's like a 20-year-old dude, but you just...
Yeah. Like, you gotta, face up to the consequences of your actions.
Yeah, you knew what you were getting into. She didn't magically start have cameras following her or anything.
Right.
You decided
came in the middle of this.
You knew that she was a public figure when you cheated on her. So, like,
and even when you first got with her.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, we go over to Micah, who doesn't know who Steve Jobs is. Bless him.
A tiny angel.
I know. But he talks about how his 21st is coming up and he's planning on spending it in Florida with his family. And he kind of gets to open up a little bit to Hayden, his friend, about the situation with his parents and talks about how much his parents have changed. And this is where he talks about how he thinks that Kim, seeing the kids, like, living their life and having fun, like, she wants to do that now. Yeah, because that's what she was doing before she met Barry. And right. And yeah. But yeah, it was nice. It was nice to see the scene with Micah and Hayden, and I'm glad he has good friends. I know. I just wrote in the notes on this. I was just like, Hayden's such a good friend, man. He is. I love Hayden. Like, he's like, cool. Bros shout out to so Hayden. Rarely, like, talk about their feelings like this and not just be like, oh yeah, bro, that's a bummer, bro. Yeah. It was good. It was a nice little scene. Because Hayden was like, oh, my parents were divorced and it's pretty normal, like, whatever. Yeah. It was good. Yeah. So Kim is going to Tampa to spend some time with Mariah after the Max video situation. And Ethan still, not really in contact with her, doesn't want to see her, but he is willing to drop Mariah off on the beach, which is kind of nice. Like, at least he's being supportive of Mariah seeing the mom and not being like, he's being supportive of everybody's choices as long as they're supportive of his. Yeah, exactly. So apparently Ethan doesn't know anything about Kim and Barry, and I was surprised that Mariah hasn't told him. This is Ethan
being Ethan.
Yeah, it is.
He's the only one who doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I really think, and I'm not criticizing Mariah because I imagine she doesn't want to talk about this and whatever, but I really think that if I were Mariah and I was living with my brother who was not in contact with my parents, and I found out that my parents were separating, that I would definitely talk to my brother about it.
Yeah. Like, I think Barry told Mariah not to talk to Ethan about it, which is
probably
fucked up.
It's fucked up because he keeps like withholding the information from him.
And like segregating parts of his family into like who knows, who doesn't, who can emotionally support each other, instead of like just fucking tell everyone. Like, you can't expect a separation to be a fucking secret if you've told almost all of your kids.
And also, especially if you literally have a television show.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
That's so dumb. Barry just thinks he can do no wrong.
Oh, God.
Anyways.
So, Kim wants to cheer Mariah up a little bit, and they go to the beach together and kind of talk about everything. And Mariah really opened up to like what happened between them, and she also talks about how like her mom and her have gotten a lot closer, and they're able to like talk through a lot of tough topics now that they used to not
feel like
talk
I
about.
need to go back in my notes, because I feel like in the first season at some point I said Kim just hates Mariah because Mariah is who she was.
Kim. Yeah.
She's just Kim.
Definitely. And even Kim in this scene talks about how like nobody makes her feel seen and heard like Mariah does. And it's probably because they're both so similar emotionally, and so they know what to say to each other. Yeah. And that's really great.
They're little wild children who want a wild child, and then they have something fuck them up.
Yeah. Mariah talks about how it makes her uncomfortable that Max is hanging out with Lydia and the other kids, and so at least it's kind of like out there and known, and hopefully it will get communicated to Lydia that she needs to stop.
God, I know. I watched the little like coming up next at the end of this episode, and it's just it's not gonna go good.
Great. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
So then we move on, and Mariah asks about how things are going with Kim and Barry, and Kim just says, not very good. And that she's not happy in her marriage, and she wants out, but she feels like she's letting her children down.
And it's like, no, Kim, the only way you're letting your children down is by not
caring for them.
Caring for them now.
Not being there for them. Not helping them. You can
divorce their father and still parent them.
Yes. Definitely. And you can discover yourself and, do your hobbies and still, be a parent at the same time.
I have heard that people with dance studios have raised children.
That's insane. I don't think that's possible, Jillian. I need statistics on that.
Percentage of dance studio moms. Wait, dance moms?
Yeah. God.
Yeah, I think it's just like both Kim and Mariah are people pleasers who are wild children. And I think they're people pleasers because they grew up with abusive mothers.
Yes. Yeah.
And yep, it's just like they both are finally figuring out that you have to do what makes you happy instead of being a doormat.
Yeah.
And being like, oh, it's once you get married, just close your eyes.
Yeah, which thankfully for Mariah, she's a 20-year-old woman. Yeah, that's a really great time to be having these revelations about yourself. But for Kim, it's a little
late. You did kind of traumatize a whole clan of children.
A whole generation. But you know what? That's okay. Let it slide.
They'll get through it. They'll get through it. No, well,
apparently they are.
To you. Yeah.
Yeah, God.
I don't know. It was a good Kim and Mariah moment overall, honestly.
It was. I am glad that their relationship is a lot better than it was in the beginning.
Because they both now know the other one's a person.
Right. Wow. Crazy.
Which, that's understandable when you are an 18-year-old. Not very understandable when you are a 50-year-old.
Exactly. So then the last little part of this episode, Olivia is going out with a friend that she met and then like a bunch of her girlfriends. And she talks about how she didn't really have a normal high school, college experience. So this is like the first time she's like going out to a bar with her girlfriends.
I have to say, I love these friends' sense of humor to take her to a like sinners club.
Yes.
With like the nun answering the door being like, do you have a confession?
It was so good. And she touches on that and talks about how like her experience as a child like sometimes stays in her mind so much, and she has to remind herself that it's like okay to enjoy these things because they're not bad. Like going to a bar, having, you know, a drink with friends, like
yeah, you're not
totally
a sinner
fine.
going to hell.
Yeah,
even though that's been beaten into you your whole life.
And so while Olivia is at her sinner's bar, Ethan decided to go to a barcade by himself, and he's just talking to some older ladies at the bar. Loved it.
I know, iconic.
Yeah. And so we kind of flash back and forth between Ethan and Olivia, but I loved the juxtaposition between Olivia and her friend Bree. They're both the same age. They're both 23, but Bree is like a party normal 23, not normal, but like your average,
she's
what
like,
you would expect a
23-year-old
to be.
23-year-old girl.
And then you have Olivia, who's like never once gone out with friends, who's like very mature, very like a married woman for years. It's just like kind of interesting to see the differences between the two. But I'm glad that Olivia is being exposed to like more people her age and things like people her age are doing.
Yeah, it's very healing.
That's good. Yes, I'm sure it is.
You know, be able to essentially be a kid now that like she's an adult. She has a job. She has, I'm sure, enough money from destination wedding shit. Like, she can be an actual regular young adult now instead of expected to be a parent at 18.
Right. She's like Drew Barrymore running through the rain, healing her inner child.
Yeah. Know? God.
Oh, I loved this part where they're kind of talking about like their sins, and Olivia mentions that she stole her mom's phone at night when she was like 16 and found porn and watched porn on her mom's phone, which like hell yeah, go for it. I mean, she's 16. It's like normal 16 behavior. Yeah,
like she's not like addicted to porn. She's a curious teenager.
She's curious to know how
and
bodies
no one
work.
will fucking tell her.
Exactly. Like she's got to learn this somewhere. Like porn is not a great place, but I applaud her bravery and the balls to do it, because imagine her being caught. I feel like that would have been so bad.
It would have been so bad. And she knew like how to clear her history and everything. Yeah. Man.
She's a smart cookie.
She's a smart cookie. Ethan talks a little bit about how all of his friends are old people because he's an old person, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how my brother is. My brother, like all of his friends are like 50-year-old men that he plays music with.
And it's like if he would just listen to them, he would do a lot better. Yeah. Because
you could learn a lot.
Men can be your friends. They can tell you a lot of things. Just be friends with Philip forever, and Philip will tell you appreciate your wife.
Learn from their experiences and their stories. They can be helpful.
Yeah.
And then we get this part where they kind of talk about like Olivia says she's very secure in a relationship with Ethan and never worried about like him cheating on her. Yeah. And this random girl comes up to Ethan and asks for her number, or gives him her number.
Yeah.
And he just like takes it.
Yeah, in typical Ethan fashion, he doesn't want to have the conflict of being like, "Oh no, I'm married, thanks."
Yeah, well, and it's like it's not. He talks about how he doesn't want conflict, but it's not like he's saying I'm not interested in you or like you're not my type. Yeah. He's saying I'm married, like that's just a fact and like a relevant fact.
Yeah, and she can say to that, "Oh, I just thought you wanted to check out this other bar. Here's the number anyway."
Yeah. Like, whatever. But yeah, it's like I feel like you should have said something. You should have just taken the number. It just kind of looks a little suspicious and weird.
Especially because the two old ladies he was with at the bar
were talking about his wife. Like they know he's married.
Yeah. And it's just like sitting there.
It was bizarre. I don't know.
I mean, like, I get it. It's probably the first time. I think it's the first time he's ever had somebody give him their number, which
probably,
90% of the first time you do that, you're just like, ah, But
yeah.
Sorry.
That's like when you're a woman, you learn when a man asks for your number to just automatically say, I have a boyfriend, even if you don't, because men respect that, but they won't respect you saying no to their advances.
Ain't that the fucking truth?
Love it. Love it here.
I love it. America, patriarchy.
We live in an incredible place.
Truly the best time.
All right, though. Do you have anything else to say about this episode or these episodes?
No. I'm just glad So I know a little bit about what happens in the next couple episodes, but I'm just glad that I also follow Olivia on Instagram and know that she and Ethan are out traveling the world saying that they live in places, even though they're just going to places for 1 week. They're like, living in Paris is great. We're here for 6 days.
It's like, okay. I mean, you are alive in Paris. Okay. Yeah. No, it is. I follow her too, and it has been nice to see like them like doing stuff together.
Yeah, clearly Ethan got his head out of his fucking ass because she was like, you know what would make me happy? Going traveling.
Yeah, exactly. So that is good. I think that about does it for this week. I think we'll continue on with some more Plathville in the coming days.
Finish up the old season 8.
Yes. But if you have anything that you wanted to say about this episode or any of our other episodes, or if you have anything you'd like us to watch for the future, you can send us an email at tvliterate@gmail.com.
And we are everywhere on the internet at TV Literate. We are on Instagram, Tumblr, Reddit, Twitter, Facebook. If you can think of it, we're on there, except for Be Real, because I don't understand Be Real. I'm officially too old for it. So, no, we're not there. But everywhere else, yes.
Yes.
And we also have a Ko-fi, which is ko-fi.com/TV Literate if you want to drop us $1 because we make you holler.
Hell yeah. And if you have a moment and can leave us a review, we would also really appreciate that. And we will see you guys next week with another episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.